Hello and welcome to Digital Wood Carver. My name is Laney Shaughnessy, and in this video I'm going to walk you through carving your very first project. Now, many of you have come to this video as a progression of the series of videos that you were watching for new owners getting started, starting off with how to install your Vectric software, then how to install your Planet-CNC TNG motion controller software, how to design your very first project, and then of course how to carve your very first project. And that's what we're going to talk about in this video today. So if you haven't seen how to design your first project, I do strongly advise that you go back and watch that video, because this is a continuation of that video. In the how to design your first project video, we create a design and we create a toolpath for that design. And in this video, we're going to be taking that toolpath to our Planet-CNC TNG motion controller software, and we're going to be running it and carving it on this board here. So definitely go back and watch that video if you haven't done so. Now, the first thing that we want to do is we want to get to know our unit and where we're supposed to be standing at it and everything. When it comes to the digital wood carver units, the operators stand on the right side of the machine. The front of the machine is out here where you'll see a green digital wood carver decal. That's the front of the unit. And the operator stands in front of the control box on the 2440 on the right side of the machine, as well as a mini carver on the right side as well. Now, when the operator is in the position here, the travel along their left and right, to my left and to my right, that is my x-axis on the CNC, x minus to my left, x positive to my right. The router, when it travels back and forth on the y-axis, that's where the router comes to me or away from me. Y minus is to me, Y positive is away from me. This is the operator's standing position on the right side of the table. Some CNC machines have the operator stand at the front of the table, and so on and so forth. So for the digital wood carvers, your operating position is at the right side of the machine, and your x-axis runs to your left and right, and your y-axis runs to and away from you. Okay, now on my project here, my project was 14 inches by 10 inches by 3/4 inches thick that we created in the design video. And I've got it I went ahead and got it clamped onto the table. And now I'm ready to set up the machine in the Planet-CNC TNG motion controller software. Okay, we're going to be using a 60-degree V-bit to carve this project. Just a simple 1/4 inch diameter 60-degree V-bit. And that is the bit that's going to do all of the design, the text and the horse in this design that we created in the design video. And for those of you that are new to working with CNCs or routers or woodworking in general, the router, the standard router that comes with the digital wood carver 2440 currently is the Matibo M12 VC 2¼ horsepower router. We do have other router options as well as water-cooled spindle options as well. For more information on that, you can visit our website at www.digitalwoodcarver.com, or you can call us toll-free at 833-392-2621. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have with regards to the units. Now, with the router, you will have 2 wrenches and a couple of collets and nuts. Your collets are going to be 1/4 inch collets and 1/2 inch collets for using 1/4 inch shank router bits or 1/2 inch shank router bits. Now, to change a bit or to install a bit, if you're just kind of getting into woodworking and you really haven't worked with a router before, here on the front of the unit, there's an opening where our small wrench will slide into that opening, and you can turn that router head and you'll feel that wrench lock right on and to lock that head into place. And then we have a larger wrench that will go underneath for changing or removing the router and nut. And you can use 2 hands for this operation, or you can use 1. If you let this slide all the way over to one side while it's on the head, you can use 1 hand to loosen the nut. And when it comes to your nuts and collets and stuff, when you're putting the bits in, make sure that when you install the bit into your collet that you do not go all the way up to the tip of your collet. You want to be down about 1/8 of an inch, or 1/16 to 1/8, no more than 1/8 on that. So you want to kind of be, you don't want to be all the way up in there, because we need that collet to grip that router bit completely. But you can choose to put the router bit in after the collet is screwed on, or you can kind of put it in and screw the whole assembly on however you want, and let it catch a few of the threads, and go ahead and hand tighten it. You may have to hold the router bit while you're hand tightening it. You want to make sure that you have enough bit sticking out of the router to make sure that number one, it can cut to whatever depth it needs to cut to on the project. But number two, we want to just stick that router up, but not go all the way up to the collet on that. For this 60-degree V-bit, I want to say it's about 1.25 inches of bit sticking out of the router there. So we will take our big wrench once again from underneath on that nut that we've hand tightened, and we'll go ahead and continue tightening it. Right now I'm just using one wrench. I'm letting this wrench stay locked into this position over here while I get that tight. And now I will come in and I'll grab this second wrench here, and I'll just make sure that it's nice and tight. Okay, you don't have to kill it, but you want to make sure that it's nice and snug. Okay, once we have our router bit installed, now we're ready to zero out our X, Y, and Z axis on our project board. Now, the digital wood carver uses a variable home position, meaning that you will set your X, Y, and Z 0 at the beginning of every job, and you will set your Z 0 between tool changes on the same job. So this job that we created was designed to start from the center of our project board. So we want to go ahead and make sure that we've marked and measured and marked, let's say it that way, that we've measured and marked the center of our board, and now we're going to move the router over until the center of our router bit is right over our mark. All right, so now we've got our material marked and we're ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and power up the machine. Now, if you have our DWC 2440, our DWC 5100, or our DWC 4848 model units, there's an emergency stop on that you're going to twist. It's a twist lock stop, so you want to twist it clockwise, let it pop out, and then push your green button in to power up the machine. If you have our DWC 1824 mini carver, there is a switch on the back of the unit to power up the unit. And once we have it powered up, we can go ahead and jog our unit over to get right on that mark. Okay, once the router is over our mark in position, we want to go ahead and zero out the X-axis and zero out the Y-axis. And then we're going to raise the router up just a little bit. We're going to slow our jog speed down. So now we can go ahead and take our touch plate sensor and we can place it on our material, making sure that it's nice and flat on the material underneath where the router bit is going to be making contact. And from there we can go ahead and bring the router down. And it'll stop automatically when it touches the touch plate. And in our software, we will program in the thickness of that touch plate. And then once we've touched off and set the thickness of our touch plate in our Z0 box, we'll go ahead and raise up and put our touch plate away. Now when you're not using your touch plate, go ahead and slide it into the T-track. And we usually use the T-track that's closest to us here. Just tilt the touch plate a little bit and it'll slide right into that T-track. And it's a good storage place for it to keep it safe from becoming active, because if it becomes active while the operation is going, then it could cause some complications with the job itself. So let's make sure that we have it stored away properly. If you own one of our DWC 1824 mini carvers, zeroing out the machine's X, Y, and Z axis, the procedure is as follows. We've got our material clamped to the table. We've got our mark set here on the center of our board because that's where our design is starting from. That's going to be our XY home position. The top surface of the material is going to be our Z0 position. So we want to go ahead and get the bit over our mark to get our XY set, and then we'll go ahead and set the Z. All right, once we have the X and Y zeroed out for our project, in this case it's the center of the board, now we're ready to touch off and set the Z0 position on the top of the material. With our unit's touch tool sensor, we're going to take the grounding gator clip and we're going to clip it onto the router bit. And the tool sensor is going to be positioned underneath that router bit and nice and flat on our material. And we're going to lower the Z down until it stops. It'll stop automatically when it makes contact, and then we will set our Z position in our Planet-CNC TNG motion controller software. Okay, and once the touch off has been completed and we've set the zero position in our software, we're going to go ahead and remove the gator clip from the router bit. And when we're not utilizing the touch plate, we want to store it at the back of the mini carver in the T-track that's on the far opposite side of the operator. Now the operator stands on the right side of the machine. I'm standing on the left side in this video. But the operator will stand on the right side of the machine, and this T-track here, we want to take the tool sensor and we want to tilt it a little bit and slide it right into that T-track. And as far as the gator clip, we can go ahead and just clip that onto our little bundle of access wires here, or we can just let it hang down or sit on the table. What the goal is we do not want the tool sensor and that grounding gator clip to make contact with each other during the operation, because that will lock up, it'll activate the sensor and lock up the axes, and we don't want that. So make sure you store it away properly by putting it into the T-track, the tool sensor, and you can clip the gator clip on the back cables here just to store it out of the way, or you can let it just kind of sit down back there. All right, now that we've zeroed out the X, Y, and Z, we're ready to start carving. All right, everybody, once we have that zeroed out, we're ready to load up the project in our software, our Planet-CNC TNG software, and run the job. Now, before we run it, we're going to go ahead and hook up the dust collection for this. You've got a vacuum that came with your system, unless you opted out of getting the vacuum with your system. We're going to go ahead and connect that dust collection system, and then we're also going to put on the dust skirt, and we're ready to run. Let's go ahead and unclamp the material. And that looks great. Put a little bit of finished color on it, do a little touch-up work, and put a clear coat on it, and it'll be ready for Janet. Well, I must say that turned out great, and I'm sure yours did as well. Well, that concludes this video on how to carve your very first project. If you have not seen how to design your first project in this series, it kind of takes you through the first steps of creating the design in the Vectric software, creating the tool paths for that design, and then of course in this video we walk you through how to carve it on your digital wood carver. I hope this video was helpful in getting you started with your digital wood carver, and thank you for watching it. Thank you for choosing digital wood carver, and until next time, I'll see you soon.